All right. Okay, so here's a link from the 8th verse to the 9th verse. In the 3rd chapter, by performing action, one may become entangled. This might be a question that Arjun would have in his mind. So let's see what Krishna says, 3.9. Yajnarthat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangaha samachara. Somebody can read the translation, please.
Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction. And in that way, you will always remain free from bondage.
Thank you, Mataji. So, Yagnarthat karmano anyatra. Anyatra meaning otherwise. So, Yagna arthat, for the sake of yagna, for the purpose of yagna, do your karma. Otherwise, loko yam karma bandhana. In this world, one will get bound by karma, karma bandhan. Tadartham karma konteya. For his satisfaction, tad artham, for his satisfaction, do your karma, O Konteya, O son of Kunti. Mukta sangaha samachara. Thus, you will always stay free from bondage. So, Krishna spoke about how work can be done in such a way that it doesn't cause bondage. Till now, Krishna spoke about one level is one should work with detachment. This is what Krishna has been the theme of the Bhagavad Gita so far. Because we're not our body, we are the soul, we should work with detachment, right? But now Krishna has taken the level higher where he's starting to speak about yajna or sacrifice, work for the purpose of yajna. So what does yajna mean? Yajna is sacrifice or tyag. Havan is fire sacrifice. It is also called yajna because we are sacrificing, right? So many things are sacrificed inside the fire, the Havan Kunda. That is also yajna, one kind of yajna. So Havan is a kind of yajna, but yajna in general means something that we an act of giving up something valued for the sake of achieving something much higher eventually. How is it done? You have to do your karma not just for the maintenance of body, but you have to do that prescribed karma for the purpose of purification and for spiritual realization. Yajna arthat karmano, action that are done to please Lord Vishnu. And then otherwise, any other karma done will bind one to karma bandhan. So Tantra Sar says, where Krishna is said to be Panch Atma, the soul of Yajna in 5 ways. Yajna Vai Vishnu, he is Yajna, he is Yajna Purush, he is Yajna Ishwar, he is Yajna Bhokta, he is Yajna Bhavana. So when we do this kind of Yajna, right, where we are sacrificing from our side, then Vishnu is that yajna. He becomes that yajna. He becomes the personality of the yajna. He becomes the Ishwar, the supreme personality of Godhead for that yajna, in that yajna. And yajna bhokta, he's the enjoyer of that yajna, of that sacrifice. He's also the emotions or the attitude, everything involved while doing the yajna. For example, this is a very practical example that we'll take. A person owns a building, right? And he doesn't, especially if you go to LA side, there are so many buildings where you see graffiti on the wall. Anybody passing by, they'll have a, paint spray and they'll just write anything or just, whatever, scribble anything. So this person, he has a building in LA, just imagine, and he does not want anybody to write anything on his wall. And he anybody who writes, and maybe it's an apartment complex, right? And anybody who writes anything will be fined. Now this little child, he goes and he writes with his painting, and then this person comes who's the owner, and he's very happy. He gives a chocolate. Why? He's doing the same act of writing on the graffiti. on the wall. But what has he written? No graffiti allowed here. So, although the act of writing is the same, but the content and the intent is different. So he's doing the work of, and whatever the the owner of that building desires, he's done that work, although the act is the same, right? So similarly, if we act in self-centered way in this world, we are bound by karma. But if we act with spiritual intention for the pleasure of Krishna, then there is no bondage. Rather, there is purification, elevation, and there is progress towards liberation by that action. If you see in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna and Duryodhana, in the end of the Bhagavad Gita, they both fight, right? So its act is exactly the same, but the intent is different. Duryodhana wants to fight because he wants to own the land, but Arjun wants to fight to please Krishna because it's Krishna's instruction for him. All right, so these are notes which we just spoke about. You can, and in detail, you can read later. There's a little story attached to this particular verse. We'll do it now. Maharaj Prithu's Ashwamedh Yagya, how 99 is more than 100. Anybody knows this story of Ashwamedh Yagya?
Yes, Mataji, I know about the story. It's from Srimad Bhagavatam, in
Okay,
which
anybody
Prithu
else?
Maharaj is actually
Yes,
okay.
Prithu Maharaj he wanted to do 100 yagyas. Anybody else who
Yeah,
knows the
so
story
Indra
also?
gets.
Yes,
Shall I say?
So most of you know. So I have pictures. We'll just go through the pictures. Yeah, so he wanted to do 100 yagyas, but also Indra had already done 100 yagyas. And whoever has done 100 yagyas can be at the post of Indra, of king of the heavens. So Indra got jealous or envious, and he was in anxiety that if Prithu Maharaj completes his 100 yagya, then what will happen? So 99 yagnas are done, and the 100th one is going on. And he comes and he kidnaps the horse in the form of a yogi, of a sadhu. And Prithu Maharaj's son goes to get the horse back, and he does. He is able to. He doesn't kill the Indra because he doesn't know it's Indra, but because he was in the garb of a yogi, he does not kill him, but he gets the horse back, and they start the yajna again. But again, Indra takes that same form and comes to kidnap. So this happens 3 times. And the third time, they really want to. Prithu Maharaj himself goes and he wants to kill him. But then Lord Brahma comes and he tells all the sages, they go to Brahmaji and they request, please come and help. And Brahmaji comes and he tells Prithu Maharaj, it's okay. You've done your 99 and Lord Vishnu is happy with the 99 yagyas. You don't have to complete 100. And Prithu Maharaj is so humble and he agrees. He said, all right, whatever you say, I will comply. Because he agreed, Lord Vishnu came himself and he was so happy with this humility of Prithu Maharaj. And then Indra also comes and he asks for forgiveness from Prithu Maharaj. So we see how in all the citizens in his society, in his, kingdom, they're also very happy because he gets the same prosperity as that of Lord Indra. Now we see that the purpose of yajna in this verse, it is to please, tad artham, to please Lord Vishnu. And this is what Prithu Maharaj did. Even if, he knew that if I do 100, Lord Vishnu will be pleased, it is for his pleasure. But when he was told, no, it's okay, you don't have to, and then he stopped. He said, all right, whatever is instructed to me, I want pleasure of Lord Vishnu, whatever way that comes. So that's why it is so important. Whatever is there coming down, instructions coming down from the proper lineage in disciplic succession, if we try to follow those, if we have faith and we want to follow those, ultimately for the pleasure of Krishna, then Krishna is pleased. All right, so we'll come to today's class and we'll start with a little bit of recap for what we did in our last class so we don't forget. All right. So we started with Karma Yoga, and these were the topics. Confusion, Arjun's confusion, and he asks in the first and second verse. Then Krishna starts to speak, and he brings this new concept about work with detachment, then cycle of sacrifice, which we're going to get into today, then setting the right example, and then lust, the greatest enemy. So Krishna gave various options when he started to speak from 3.3. Also from before in the second chapter also. But Arjun's conception was either I don't act, which is in Jnana Yoga, or if I act, Krishna gave these various Karma Yoga, Karma Kand and Vikarma. But for Arjun, in his mind, if he fought, it would be which kind of karma?
Gora karma.
Gora karma.
A sinful act.
Wonderful. Yeah. According to Arjuna, karma is action, I fight, or I do jnana, which is karma is action, jnana is renunciation. Krishna introduces a new option, which is
Renunciation.
Work in
yoga,
renunciation.
work and
Work in
renunciation.
renunciation.
work in detachment or renunciation in action. So it's neither action nor renunciation, but action, do that kind of action where there is renunciation involved. Because in action can also be a what kind of action?
Sakarma.
Vikarma.
Culpable action. If we don't act, we can also be held responsible, right? So culpable action. If you want freedom from bondage, you will have to be free from
Attachment.
attachments. Wonderful, yes. And then 3.5 was where Krishna said everyone is supposed to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. So what are the three modes?
Rajagun,
Simple.
Satogun, Tamogun.
Yeah, goodness, passion, ignorance. Either you will work under the three modes or you can serve me, which is the fourth category. So either you work under the three modes, right? Or you can serve me, which is the fourth category.
Pure goodness.
Krishna consciousness.
Pure Sattva Guna. Wonderful. But we see some sannyasis devoid of action of the senses with closed eyes. They're also not doing any action. What about them? And Krishna says, Karma Indriyani Samyamya, that verse. And he says, one who restrains the senses of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. So one is a virtuous, one is a pretender, one is virtuous. And what are the names he's used in this verse? You can look at the verse.
Mithyachari.
Mithyachari. So this is Mithyachari and this is
Sadachari.
Devotee.
Sadachari.
Devotee in
Yeah, or
Sadachari.
Sadachari. In contrast to this, the householder who's not a sannyasi, who performs scriptural actions, karma yoga, without longing for the fruit of his actions is superior. That's what Krishna says in 3.7. And we did this story about the monk who helped a woman cross the river, and also a little small story about the little child who comes and he says, if I buy the red color balloon, will it fly higher? And the balloon seller says it is not the color of the balloon. And then what does he
the
say?
inner.
What
The
is
air in
inside?
the
But what is inside? So the content is important, not the outward looks. So man looks at the results, whereas Krishna looks at the
intention.
effort. Man looks at the presentation, whereas Krishna looks at our
Intention.
Intention, our heart. Since we have impure hearts, we must necessarily perform prescribed activities for purification of the heart. This was 3.8. Perform your prescribed duty, for doing so is better than not working. One cannot even maintain one's physical body without work. And then we did 3.9. Today we finished with that section where Krishna says, if you should work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed, otherwise work causes bondage in this material world. And we learned all of this. I'm going to go, we just did it. This was the story, and we'll come to today's class. Now, if you cannot be without desire in the actions, then you should still perform actions offered to Vishnu with desire, rather than give up actions completely. So if we still have desires, we should still perform that action. Right? Krishna has been speaking about how we should be detached, but if we still have attachment, still you should perform the action. And this is explained in the next 7 verses, and we'll start to recite. Bhagavad Gita also to that verse. Just give me 1 second. This is 3.10. Sahayagnya pratha praja srishtva purovacha prajapati anena prasavishyadhyam vishwadhvam eshavostva ishta kamaduk. Somebody can read the translation, please.
In the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods, along with sacrifices for Vishnu, and blessed them by saying, be thou happy by this yajna, sacrifice, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation.
So Saha Yagna Praja Srishtva, Saha Yagna, along with Yagna, Praja Srishtva, the Praja was created. Purovacha Prajapati, anciently Purovacha, it was said, Lord of creatures, which is Prajapati. It could refer to Lord Brahma or Lord Vishnu. Here it refers to Vishnu. Anena Prasa Vishyadhvam, which is by this be more and more prosperous. Eshavo Swa Ishta Kamaduk. Let this be bestower of all your desirable things. Kamaduk is that cow which can fulfill all desires. So let's look at Praja is that word is introduced here. Praja is that which is born, right? Etymologically, it means that which is given birth or is born. That will refer to all the creatures on this planet or wherever in this universe, all of the creatures. But since the animals, they work on instinct, they don't have any karma involved, and they don't have to do action thinking of what will be the reaction, will it cause bondage. So when Krishna says over here Praja, he specifically means the human beings. So karma is applicable on human beings, but animals, they live by instinct. So in Satya Yuga, what could we do to attain perfection in spiritual life? It was Dhyana Yajna. In Treta Yuga, it was Havan Yajna, or fire sacrifice. In Dwapar Yuga, it was Paricharya Yajna, which was worship of the deities within the temples. And in Kali Yuga, this age, it is Sankirtan Yajna, or congregational chanting of the holy names of Krishna. But if you see, in Kali Yuga, even if all those things are done, we do dhyana also, right? But if we only do dhyana, or we only do yajna, which is fire sacrifice, will that take us to perfection in Kali Yuga? No, because the currency in this yuga is Sankirtan Yajna. So we can do all of those, but it will not take us to perfection. The best and the perfect way for Kali Yuga, which is given is Sankirtan Yajna. So if maybe we go from here to India and I have a $500 bill and I'm giving it to a person where I want just a Bisleri bottle, right? And he will say, okay, this is really, it has a lot of value, but it won't work. I'll need rupees over here. So although it is of value, but it doesn't work over there in that other place. So in this yuga, it is the Sankirtan Yuga, Yagya, which will take us to perfection. Although we do all of these, we do Dhyana Yagya, we do Havan Yagya also, we do Paricharya also in this age. But along with that, what is required? The Mahamantra, the chanting of the holy names. So this is Dhyana Yagya, meditating on the chanting and hearing of the holy names. So we're doing Dhyana also, but we're focusing on the names of Krishna. We do Havan Yagya also in Kali Yuga, which is not complete without the chanting of the holy names. And we'll watch a little bit of this Havan Yagya, which was done for initiation by Guru Maharaj. This was a few years back, where I think this is where my husband is getting initiated also. So we might see him also in the picture, but I'll fast forward it to the place where Havan is. So in the beginning, initiation ceremony is there, but then fire sacrifice. We finish the whole ceremony with fire sacrifice. So I'll skip to that part.
विनाशनाय ॐ तद्विष्णु परमं पदं सदा पश्यन्ति सूरयः दिवि चक्षुराततं तद्विप्रासो विपन्यवो जगृवं
Parampara. It's my honor to give you the name.
Devotees, carrying them through to initiation.
Bhakti Vedanta Swamin
Going on.
Iti Namine.
And let's see how it finishes with the Hare Krishna mantra.
Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Who's in Los Angeles? We will come.
Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Hare.
Now we come to Paricharya Yagya, which is worshipping the deities, which is also not complete without chanting of the holy names. And we'll watch this. This is from Mayapur. We'll skip to where the arti is going on along with the chanting of the holy names.
Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
And then we have the Sankirtan Yagya for this age, which is congregational chanting. This is in Vrindavan and Kirtan sung by His Grace Ayendra Prabhu. And these are the notes. We can look at these later. So we see how all the perfection.
Mataji?
Yes.
One small question. There it was written 24-hour
Kirtan.
continuous. Was it like 24 hours continuous?
It is still continuing, Mataji. 24 hours in Vrindavan. 24 hours the kirtan is continuing.
Continuously. Oh.
Yeah, at night also, nobody stops. It's like continuous.
Oh.
I mean, it's just for the seconds that the kirtaniya is changing. One person gets up, they have slots. So from this
Oh.
hour to this hour, one person is singing. So just for those seconds when the person is, they're switching the kirtaniya. At that time, it maybe not just stops, maybe they're still continuing with the mridanga. But yeah, it's continuing 24 hours.
Very nice. Very nice to know, sir. Thank you.
Link between text 10 and 11 to results of what are the results of such sacrifice. Fulfilling of material desires also happen, and then purification of heart to elevate one out of this material world also happens with doing the yajna. So 3.11 verse. Devan bhavaya tatena bhavaya tanena te deva bhavayantu ivaha parasparam bhavayantaha shreya param avapsyatha. Somebody can read the translation, please.
The demigods, being pleased by sacrifices, will also please you, and thus by cooperation between men and demigods, prosperity will reign for all.
Wonderful. So Devan Bhavaya Tanena. The Devatas having been pleased, Te Deva Bhavayantu Vaha. They will also satisfy you. Parasparam Bhavayanta. In this way, like you pleasing them and they pleasing you, Shreya Param Avapsyata. You'll get the ultimate benediction. So Devan Bhavaya Tanena Yajna will please the Devtas, then they will in turn please you, please the humans. And this cooperation between the Devtas and humans will bring universal prosperity. So Devan Bhavaya Tanena. From our side, what is required? What we do for the Devtas, it could be fasting, yajna, havan, pilgrimage to the holy dhams, worship, or recitation of certain mantras. All of these things are given in the Vedas. So you do this and then you get the results. It's like a slot machine. You put what you require accordingly. That much money is put and you get what is required from them. Prabhupada says in the purport, the demigods are empowered administrators of material affairs. The supply of air, light, water, and other benedictions are maintaining the body and soul of every living entity are entrusted to the demigods, who are innumerable assistants in different parts of the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if you please them, they are supposed to give you the benedictions. This is a beautiful, small little clip from this episode from young Sheldon, who's really smart and intelligent. And he's bringing the faith back in his mother for God, right? So everything in this universe is so minutely exact, how it should be. If not, then what will happen? So she's going through certain emotions in her life. This is all I don't watch this, but it just came up when I was putting belief in God. So, but it's really beautiful. Let's watch this. Her faith is she's a Christian. She goes to the church and says grace before eating, but she stopped doing it, and her son is worried for her. I'm sorry.
Wix gives you the freedom to tell your story.
Can I sit with you?
I think Mommy needs to be alone right now.
All right. Mom, I'm scared.
Why?
You didn't go to church. You stopped saying grace. I don't understand what's going on.
It's kind of hard to explain.
Is it me? Did I do something wrong?
Of course not. Come here. Sheldon. Faith means believing in something you can't know for sure is real. And right now, I am struggling with that.
So you don't believe in God anymore?
That isn't something for you to worry about. I need to figure this out myself.
Can I help? Maybe I could provide a fresh perspective.
I don't think so, baby.
Did you know that if gravity were slightly more powerful, the universe would collapse into a ball?
I did not.
Also, if gravity were slightly less powerful, the universe would fly apart and there'd be no stars or planets.
Where are you going with this, Sheldon?
It's just that gravity is precisely as strong as it needs to be. And if the ratio of the electromagnetic force to the strong force wasn't 1%, life wouldn't exist. What are the odds that would happen all by itself?
Why are you trying to convince me to believe in God? You don't believe in God.
I don't, but the precision of the universe at least makes it logical to conclude there's a creator.
Baby, I appreciate what you're trying to do. But logic is here, and my problem is here.
Well, there are 5 billion people on this planet, and you're the perfect mom for me. What are the odds of that?
Thank you, Lord, for this little boy.
I knew I could fix it.
Maybe it was you and the Lord.
I don't like sharing credit, but I knew in that moment.
So, precision in this universe, how it is created, right? Exactly how it should be. And if it is a little bit deviated, right? If the sun gets a little more hotter, then what will happen? The temperature goes up. Everything is going to burn down. And if it goes down a little bit, then everybody will freeze. So this precision in this universe, here we heard him say, in his scientific words, how it is so important. Otherwise, there will be no life. So te deva bhavayantu va. How when the demigods are pleased, then they also give benedictions. Let's keep going. 3.12. We're going to recite that. Ishtan bhogan hi vo deva dasyante jnana yagna bhavitaha taidattam apradayebhyo yobhumte stena eva saha. Somebody can read the translation.
In the charge of the various necessities of life, the demigods being satisfied by the performance of yagna sacrifice will supply all the necessities to you. But he who enjoys such gifts without offering them to the demigods in return is certainly a thief.
So Krishna is very strong word. He's used stena. Stena means a thief. If you take from somebody and keep taking, and you don't even acknowledge the other person who's giving, right? Leave alone paying back. You are a thief, Krishna is saying. So Ishtan is what is desired, and Bhogan is the necessities of life. So basic necessities like grains, fruit, vegetables, milk, sugarcane, everything is given by the Lord. We have to at least acknowledge and give back to them. Anishta Bhogan, unnecessary. We have created the unnecessary, which is for our sense gratification, which is not. All these are not necessary. There was a lady who was, how in India, you can go and do a raid in somebody's house who haven't paid taxes. So this lady, she was a minister, I think. I don't know which place exactly, but this came in the newspaper. When they raided her house, they found 5,000 pairs of shoes. 5,000 pairs. What are you going to do with so many shoes, right? So Maharaj also heard this.
Jayalalitha.
Jayalalitha
was there.
So, yeah.
I believe not for the shoes. I'm not mistaken.
When Maharaj heard this, it wasn't for the shoes, but they did find the shoes in her house, 5,000 pairs. And Maharaj was there on the newspapers, and Maharaj said, "You need a Virat Rupa to wear those many shoes." So we have created all these anishta. This is not required by us, but what is required is provided by the demigods if we please him. So he vo devo, meaning certainly unto you by the demigods. And how many demigods are there? 330 million in all, 33 crore demigods. So Yagna Bhavita, they will award being satisfied by our sacrifice. And Yagna Kupita, so this is Yagna Bhavita, they're pleased and they award, but they also get Kupita, or they get angry when there is so much sinful activities going on earth. Then there'll be also these disasters that come are sent by the demigods only. So the Devatas being pleased can release our bodily necessities, but Krishna being pleased gives himself and his abode to his devotee. Right? So this is a beautiful comparison. If we can see how when we please Krishna by doing our devotional activities, he's not thinking of the necessities. They are provided by the demigods, yes, but he himself is so pleased that he gives himself and his abode to his devotee. And we'll see this verse will come up in the 9th chapter. Whatever I am offered in devotion with a pure heart, a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, Krishna enjoys. Versus the devatas, you need to do big yajnas and pujas and, so much austerity to please them. And that too, they can only benedict what? Our necessities, nothing more than that. So Krishna returns 1,000-fold, whereas even if the devotee is not looking for what he's getting in return, he just wants to please Krishna with his devotion. Still, Krishna, for his own pleasure, to please to show the world how it is not that if we worship Krishna, we will not get anything in return. Although, again, devotee is not looking for anything in return, Krishna still provides what is best. If honoring the devotee with so many gifts and money or whatever, fame or strength or renunciation, whatever is necessary, which is best for the devotee in his or her practice of devotional life, is given by Krishna. And this is a beautiful verse from the Bhagavatam. Devarshi bhutapta nirnam pitrinam na kinkaro nayam rini charajan sarvatmana yah sharanam sharanyam gato mukundam parihritya kartam. O King, if somebody wants to read this aloud, please.
O King, one who has given up all material duties and has taken full shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, who offers shelter to all, is not indebted to the demigods, great sages, ordinary living beings, relatives, friends, mankind, or even one's forefathers who have passed away. Since all such classes of living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, one who has surrendered to the Lord's service has no need to serve such persons separately.
Beautiful verse, right? We don't need to separately worship, or we're not indebted to all these entities. 7 kinds of debts that we have to demigods, great sages, living beings, relative friends, mankind, or even one's forefathers who have passed away. But what is the main point here? If we are totally, sincerely surrendering to Krishna, then we are not indebted to all these 7 kinds of other people. So this includes the demigods also. We don't have to separately please them to get our necessities. So in fact, when we start in the forefathers, when we start coming into devotional practice, when we start chanting Krishna's names, they are dancing in the Pitri Loka, where our ancestors are. They are so happy that now we're going to get liberated, not just elevated, but liberated. We come for these classes, right? Friday Bhagavad Gita class, Saturday Bhakti Shastri class, and then other classes. On Sunday also, we want to go to the temple to hear. At home also, if we're cooking or even when we're working, going to work, on our way, we want to listen to Krishna Katha only. Our ancestors are so happy. Look at this person in our generation. He's trying to get us also liberated. Without the Supreme Lord, there can be no profuse sunlight, moonlight, rainfall, breeze, without which there can be no one can live. So everything, even the demigods who can benedict us with all our necessities, are also ultimately coming from Krishna only. This is given by Prabhupada in the purport. This is a small example of how I heard in a class, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu's class. He said for this verse, he said, imagine some people, they are in a forest, they've lost their way and they're really hungry, but they in that place, they find a beautiful kind of a palace, right? And they enter there, but they don't see anybody. They see a big dining table and everything which is, they're really hungry. They really want to eat. And everything is so nicely decorated there. They just sit down and start eating, right? And then later a person comes and he says, this is your bill. And they say, oh, well, we thought, this is a place where nobody lives. We saw nobody here. We didn't know that there's going to be a bill involved. And they said, of course, there'll be a bill involved, right? If there is all these things arranged for people, then that means there'll be a bill. So although they did not see who has arranged and where all has this come from, still they are responsible to pay for it. So similarly, when we come to this world, right, we have so many resources, air, water, fire, food, grains. If we just keep taking without acknowledging and without repaying back, we become culpable. We are like thieves. No one can manufacture anything, all eatable, all these grains, vegetables, everything is supplied by God. And the best, Lord Chaitanya Sankirtan Yagya for all, especially in this age of Kali Yuga. We don't have to do anything separately. Just this much is enough. You can read the notes later. Krishna is also a thief, right? He's calling people who don't acknowledge they are thieves, but he himself is also a thief. This is a beautiful prayer of love and devotion composed by Bilva Mangal Thakur. It's called Chaurashtakam, and we sing this in the month of Purushottam, which we're going to hear and sing along at the end of the class. Let's keep going for now. 3.13. Let's recite this one. Yagna Shishta Shana Santo Muchanti Sarva Kilvishai Bhunjate Te Tvagam Papa Ye Pachantyatma Karanat. Somebody can read the translation.
The devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment verily eat only sin.
So Yagna Shishta Shina Santo. So those devotees, and Muchante Sarva Kilbishai, those devotees who eat food or remnants of sacrifice. Yagna Shishtina, offered to Vishnu. Muchante Sarva Kilbishai, they are released from all kinds of sins. Bhunjate Te Tva Agam Papa. But those who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment, Ye Pachante Atma Karanat, for their own sense enjoyment, Agam Papa, they verily eat only sin. So a very strong verse also. We should be very careful what we eat, where we eat from. It should have been offered to Krishna. Some people say, okay, it's an emergency situation. We're eating outside in a restaurant. When the food comes, quickly offer it to Krishna before eating. Yes, that can be done emergency situation, but just think about the person who has prepared this food in the restaurant. That person himself might not be a devotee, most probably is not a devotee, might also be eating non-vegetarian food, even though what he's prepared is vegetarian, even though it might be without onion and garlic, but he himself might be eating meat. So just imagine the kind of karma we're going to have to pay back. So it is very, very important. Whatever we're putting in our body, we should think about this verse also before whatever we honor or eat. Okay, so these are nice pictures, how we offer to Krishna and becomes prasad. Me, myself, in the beginning, when I started going to the temple, I think I might have shared this before. There was a time when I was really, really sick. That was the time I started going to the temple back in 2009. I was not able to eat anything. Even my mom came all the way from India because I love her cooking. She used to prepare food and I could not eat. So health issues, I wasn't able to eat at all. And my brother told me, start going to the ISKCON temple, look for an ISKCON temple around you. And I looked up, it was a Sunday. And, prasad for us, basically, we're from India, in a temple, if you think of prasad, it's just like a small peda or a laddu, that's prasad. So here they told us, sit down, brought a whole, 7-meal course starting with the salad and then the juice and then there's rice and then sabji, dal, everything. And I could eat everything. And my husband was also shocked. He said, if you can eat here, I'll bring you here every Sunday and I'll ask them if we can come in between also to get. I was also myself was so surprised. How could I eat everything? So, and then the next time we came, I think a couple times after that, we had to go somewhere. So we couldn't stay for the whole, Sunday feast and couldn't stay till the end for the prasadam. And I was feeling that I'll have to go hungry today. I won't be able to eat anything. But when we were leaving, the aarti had started. We were leaving. And our co-president of the temple, he came and he said, just wait for 2 minutes, I'll be back. And he got 4 big boxes of to-go boxes of prasadam. And I was like, Krishna, you're so kind. You're giving me, this was in my mind, I won't be able to eat. And he fulfilled my desire of sending that prasad and I could eat. So it is so potent, prasadam, because it has been honored by Krishna. And now what is left is remnants. That's what we call prasad, remnants of Krishna's mercy. It is coming through his prasad also. So Krishna is not only the giver of food, but also the honorer of food, right? And that's why even Christianity, right, they offer grace before they eat, and other religions also. But Vedic culture goes a little more forward and deeper by offering the food first to Krishna and then honoring. Beautiful pictures. The Santas being always in a compact of love with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, the giver of all pleasures, or Mukunda, the giver of liberation, or Krishna, the all-attractive person, cannot accept anything without first offering it to the Supreme Person. This is coming from Prabhupada. We all want to become Santas, right? So let's just be careful with what we eat if we go outside. 3:14 Annad bhavati bhutani prajanyad anna sambhava yagnad bhavati parjanyo yagnaha sarva samudbhavaha. Have somebody read the translation?
All living bodies subsist on food grains, which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yajna, sacrifice, and yajna is born of prescribed duties.
All right. So, annad bhavati bhutani, all living beings, bhutani, they subsist on what? Anna, food grains. Parjanyad anna sambhava, grains are produced from rain. Yagnad bhavati parjanyo, and rains are produced by performance of yagna. So parjanya is rain, and rain is produced by yagna, and yagna karma sambhuva. Yagna is born from prescribed duties. So there is a cycle, right? In this universe or in this world also, we see how there is a cycle. The carnivorous animals, beings, they persist on the herbivorous. And the herbivorous, they persist on grains. And we humans also need grain. So there's a cycle. We all depend on what? Anna or grains. But humans have higher intelligence. We can ask the Lord where the grains are coming from. We just don't have the instinct, okay, here is food, we can just go eat it. But we also should be, because with the higher intelligence, we should also have these questions. Where is this grain coming from? Who is providing all this, right? So, for example, think of a billiards table. Here we see where there is a ball hitting, there's a stick hitting a ball, and then there's a reaction, other balls are hit also. Now, if we just look at the table and we see how these balls are, some of them are going into the holes, which is the aim of the game, right? So then we'll like, okay, wow, this is so nice. But then it is a beautiful game, and it is, there are these colorful balls moving around, but there is something which is not complete. Who is this person hitting the ball, right? With a certain force, with a certain skill, he's hitting and at a certain angle so that the balls can go into the holes. So that is a complete picture. And if we bring the same concept in how we have to pay bills for the water, electricity, or gas that we are provided by the state, right? If a small child opens the tap, the faucet, the water comes. He has no conception of how the water is coming or who is providing, or do we have to pay back for this? Is there any, bill involved? Nothing. So some people are like this, ignorant, where the supply is there and they're enjoying, but without the conception of where it is coming from and if there is any bill involved. So yajna is expressing our gratitude to the higher beings in nature, that yes, this is provided to us. It's not just by chance that things are coming to us. Air is there, sun is there, light is there, and water is there. It's not just by chance. There is somebody there. There are higher beings who are providing all this to us. And yajna is a way to express our gratitude. This is a kind of yajna. This is also a kind of yajna in this age where we express our gratitude, but it is higher because we are pleasing the Lord by taking his names, his holy names, hearing and chanting. Let's keep going 2 more verses and then we'll finish with today's class, 3.15. Let's recite the verse. Karma brahmodhavam vidhi brahmakshara samudbhavam tasmat sarvagatam brahma nityam yagne pratishtitam. Can somebody read the translation?
Regulated activities are prescribed in the Vedas, and the Vedas are directly manifested from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Consequently, the all-pervading transcendence is eternally situated in acts of sacrifice.
So, karma brahmodhavam vidhi. Prescribed duties are mentioned in the Vedas. Brahmakshara samudbhavam. Vedas are directly manifest from the Lord. And tasmat sarvagatam brahma nityam yajna pratishtitam. Consequently, the all-pervading Supreme Lord is eternally situated in acts of sacrifice. So what is yajna again? It is sacrifice. We sacrifice for the pleasure of God by giving up whatever we can use for our own pleasure. So that which, for example, simple, we can cook and eat, right? But that which could have been for our pleasure, first we sacrifice it. We offer it for the pleasure of the Lord. And that is a yajna also. So Krishna in these 2 verses has given the cycle of sacrifice. He said that our prescribed duties, which are coming from the Vedas, and Vedas are coming from Akshara, which is Lord himself, right? And then from our prescribed duties, we do our yajna. And then because of which rain comes, and because of rain, food grains come, and who persist? The living beings persist on the food grains, which are then offered back to Krishna. So if this arrow wasn't there, if the living beings only persist and only enjoy for themselves and don't offer back, then the cycle is not completed, right? So Krishna is talking about how there's a cycle of sacrifice. When these human beings are created, he started by saying that Vishnu was there, and the sacrifice was also created so that they can get what the necessities of life. And the necessities of life are given only when they do yajna, right? For the pleasure of the demigods. And those yajnas are coming from the prescribed duties, which are there in the Vedas. Vedas are coming from the Akshara. So this is a complete cycle. So this is the purpose of human life, is to please the Supreme Lord. That's how the cycle is completed. And what is the best process? Please the Lord by unalloyed and undeviated devotional service. And the best yajna is, in the sages, Sankirtan Yajna. Best mantra is the Hare Krishna mantra. You can read the notes later. The last verse for today. Let's reset that one. Any questions so far?
Mataji, in the 3:10 verse, why is in the Prajapati, why is demigods also included? Is that because in not many
demigods included in the Prajapati?
In the sense, like in the creations.
See, for example, it's really simple. If you see Trump over here or Modi in India, right? He's the highest in the government hierarchy, but he cannot do everything, right? If you tell him you take care of the Ministry of Health, also the Transport Ministry, he cannot. He has to delegate the work to some others who can do work for him. So similarly, when Krishna has created this material world for us to enjoy separately, he has to delegate so many departments to the 33 crore demigods that are there, right? For them to carry out his mission of taking care of the living beings in this world. So that's why they are there. And people who are not ready to take up Krishna consciousness or directly go to the Supreme Lord and, worship him, they go through the demigods. That's why these yajna is created in the Vedas, so that we can please them. Indirectly, it is pleasing Krishna only by pleasing them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, Kai Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
So, there's an implication, or maybe it's directly stated that that Sankirtana, like that chanting with others, is even higher than japa.
Well, we cannot use the word higher, but Sankirtan means complete. So I'll give you an example. If you have a request, again, from the government authorities, and you go alone, right? People might not hear you. They'll say, okay, just wait. You want to meet the minister. Okay, and it's very important, that subject. They'll keep you waiting, or they'll tell you come next week. You yourself, it is difficult, right? But if you come with so many people, in India, we call it dharna. You might have also heard, you've stayed in India. So many people, they are outside protesting and doing a dharna. Then the minister's like, what's going on? Let's look at this matter. So it's like Sankirtan is like that. So many people coming together, and then Krishna does hear what's going on over here, right? We have something in our heart and we are bringing that in front of Krishna. But when there's so many, and there are so many senior, pure devotees along in that Sankirtan, Krishna does hear. So it's a benediction. Prabhupada has created all these temples. They're beautifully incorporating all of these, yajnas for us so that we can offer all this prasadam, coming together and offering our prayers to Krishna. in a very potent way. That's why association is so important, and how it's amazing how Prabhupada has created all this for us. I hope I answered your question, Mataji.
Oh, that's beautiful, Mataji. I love the analogy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji. So, 16th verse for today's class, let's recite it.
Evam
Evam
chakram
pravartitam chakram nanuvartayatiha yaha aghayur indraya ramo mogham partha sajivati. My dear Arjuna, one who does not follow in human life the cycle of sacrifice thus established by the Vedas certainly leads a life full of sin. Living only for satisfaction of the senses, such a person lives in vain. So again, very strongly, Krishna is saying he lives in vain. A person maybe, after his graduation did masters and also did double PhD, and so much hard work in his material life, but not surrendered to these higher authority, not into the conception of, sacrificing anything or even acknowledging the gifts that are given by the Lord. Krishna is saying such a person lives in vain. All his life is just a waste. Imagine the double PhD or even a doctor, a heart surgeon or a brain surgeon. So much hard work has gone in his material life, and he's very famous and he's very reputed and very wealthy also. But for such a person, Krishna says his life has gone to waste. So really important how we have to take our spirituality. It is so important. Anything else? Because so 3.11, Krishna discusses how do yajna and stay free from karmic bondage. 3.12, you satisfy the devtas and they will satisfy you. And now in 16th verse, he's saying he's contrasting. If you cannot do this or you do not do this, then what happens? Your life is just lived in vain, or it is lived sinfully. So we spoke about how Krishna said that such a person, he is a thief. And we're now going to see how Krishna is also a thief. And it's really beautiful. We're going to see look at the meaning of these verses first before we sing. So if somebody can take up reading the translation of the verses, and then we'll sing along.
I offer pranama to that foremost of thieves, who is famous in Vraja as the butter thief, and he who steals the gopis' clothes, and who, for those who take shelter of him, steals the sins which have accrued over many lifetimes.
So 3 sins over here. One is he's a butter thief, right? He sins as a thief. What does he what is it that he goes and he takes away from people? One is butter. He steals butter. Then he steals the gopis' clothes. And he who takes shelter of that person who steals these, Krishna also steals away the sins that have accrued over many lifetimes. I offer pranama to the foremost of the thieves who steals Srimati Radharani's heart, who steals the dark luster of a fresh rain cloud, and who steals all the sins and sufferings of those who take shelter of his feet. So he's taken away Radharani's heart. He steals the dark luster of the fresh rain cloud, and that's how his complexion is, right? Dark like a rain cloud, the freshly formed rain cloud, and who steals all the sins and sufferings of those who take shelter of his feet. He turns his surrendered devotees into paupers and wandering homeless beggars. Aha, such a fearsome thief has never been seen or heard of in all the 3 worlds. The mere utterance of his name purges one of a mountain of sins. Such an astonishing, wonderful thief I have never seen or heard of anywhere. O thief, having stolen my wealth, my honor, my senses, my life, and my everything, where can you run to? I have caught you with the rope of my devotion. You cut the terrible noose of Yamraja. You sever the dreadful noose of material existence and you slash everyone's material bondage. But you are unable to cut the knot fastened by your own loving devotees. O stealer of my everything, O thief, today I have imprisoned you in the miserable prison house of my heart, which is very fearful due to the terrible darkness of my ignorance. And you will remain there for a very long time, receiving appropriate punishment for your crimes of thievery. O Krishna, O thief of my everything, the noose of my devotion remaining forever tight. Therefore, you will continue to reside in the prison house of my heart because I will not release you for millions of eons. And this is the beautiful song by Bilva Mangal Thakur. Let's recite this. Or sing along.
व्रजे प्रसिद्धं नवनीतचौरं व्रजे प्रसिद्धं नवनीतचौरं गोपाङ्गनानां चतुकुलचौरं गोपाङ्गनानां चतुकुलचौरम् अनेक जन्मार्जित पाप चौरम अनेक जन्मार्जित पाप चौरम चौराग्रगण्यं पुरुषं नमामि चौराग्रगण्यं पुरुषं नमामि श्रीराधिकाया हृदयस्य चौरं श्रीराधिकाया हृदयस्य चौरं नवाम्बुद श्यामलकान्तिचौरं नवाम्बुद श्यामलकान्तिचौरं पदाश्रितानां च समस्तचौरं पदाश्रितानां च समस्तचौरं चौराग्रगण्यं पुरुषं नमामि चौराग्रगण्यं पुरुषं नमामि अकिञ्चनी कृत्य पदाश्रितं यः अकिञ्चनी कृत्य पदाश्रितं यः करोति भिक्षुं पतिगेहहीनं करोति भिक्षुं पतिगेहहीनं केनाप्यहो भीषणचौरैर्दृक् केनाप्यहो भीषणचौरैर्दृक् दृष्टश्रुतो वा न जगत्त्रयेऽपि दृष्टश्रुतो वा न जगत्त्रयेऽपि यदीयनामापि हरत्यशेषं यदीयनामापि हरत्यशेषं गिरिप्रसारान् अपि पापराशिं गिरिप्रसारान् अपि पापराशिम् आश्चर्यरूपो ननु चौरैर्दृक् आश्चर्यरूपो ननु चौरैर्दृक् दृष्टश्रुतो वा न मया कदापि दृष्टश्रुतो वा न मया कदापि धनं च मानं च थतेन्द्रियाणि धनं च मानं च थतेन्द्रियाणि प्राणांश्चरेत्वा मम सर्वमेव प्राणांश्चरेत्वा मम सर्वमेव पलायसे कुत्र धृतोऽद्यचोर पलायसे कुत्र धृतोऽद्यचोर त्वं भक्तिदाम्ना सिमया निरुद्ध त्वं भक्तिदाम्ना सिमया निरुद्ध छिनत्सि घोरं यमपाशबन्धं छिनत्सि घोरं यमपाशबन्धं भिनत्सि भीमं भवपाशबन्धं भिनत्सि भीमं भवपाशबन्धं छिनत्सि सर्वस्य समस्तबन्धं छिनत्सि सर्वस्य समस्तबन्धं नैवात्मनो भक्तकृतं तु बन्धं नैवात्मनो भक्तकृतं तु बन्धम् मनमानसे तामसराशि घोरे मनमानसे तामसराशि घोरे कारागृहे दुःखमये निबद्ध कारागृहे दुःखमये निबद्ध लभस्व हे चौर हरे चिराय लभस्व हे चौर हरे चिराय स्वचौर्य दोषो चितमेव दण्डं स्वचौर्य दोषो चितमेव दण्डम् व्रजे प्रसिद्धं नवनीतचौरं व्रजे प्रसिद्धं नवनीतचौरं गोपाङ्गनानां चदुकुलचौरं गोपाङ्गनानां चदुकुलचौरम् अनेकजन्मार्जितपापचौरम् अनेकजन्मार्जितपापचौरं चौरागगण्यं पुरुषं नमामि चौराग्रगण्यं पुरुषं नमामि चौराग्रगण्यं पुरुषं नमामि पुरुषं नमामि पुरुषं नमामि.
We'll stop there. So, living in vain for a person who does not follow this cycle of sacrifice. Also, scripturally, what does it mean? Because he will be in the cycle of birth and death, right? Living in vain, he has wasted his human life, which was given to him because of higher intelligence. He could have developed his spiritual life. He could have asked the questions, why am I here? What am I, what is my right dharma to do? All these questions, and ultimately perfection of his life by coming close to Krishna, taking shelter of Krishna and surrendering completely to Krishna. We can do in this human life. But if we don't, then it is, Krishna says, that life is lived in vain. All right. Any other questions or any other comments or reflections?
Mataji, the Purushottam month comes once in how many years?
After 3 years, I think, right?
Okay.
After 3 years. So yeah, that month we recite, we sing